version of a week.
So let's cheer ourselves up. It's been a tough week for me. It's been a great week for you, but it's been a great football week for me. It's been a bad football week for you. Well, I mean, it's just been a football week for you, which is a bad football week, right?
It's not been great. Not been great. I think we're on the brink. I think this is it. I think he gets sacked either during the international break or just before it, maybe, or just after it. I think coming into after the when we play Brentford at home, I think we might have a new manager or an interim manager, which I'm upset. It's not the way we want to go. I hope I'm really wrong, but it's just I still think he's the right man. I just think some you can't keep saying the players, but he keeps putting his faith in Rashford. Even though, ironically, against Porto yesterday, he took Rashford off at half time, even though he played the best football I've seen him play in 18 months.
Yeah.
He
Well, I mean, you
goes
guys are playing Aston Villa next, right?
exactly, but you know what? Here's the caveat: we've lost to Aston Villa once at Villa Park, especially like at Old Trafford. We might have lost more recently, but at Villa Park, we have a great record. We've lost once in 29 attempts. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Aston Villa is the team we beat the most in the Premier League era. But
Yeah.
very different scenario where we are where we are, and they're on the back of beating Bayern Munich at Villa Park, which is insane. Um,
It was a whole day of upsets this week. You had Real Madrid lose, obviously. I was really happy about that. I learned that my girlfriend's dad is a huge Real Madrid fan, so that's going to be very awkward given my hatred of Real Madrid. But but yeah, no, I mean, I like I'm looking at your guys' schedule right now, and I think that one big issue is you don't have a single good game. Like you don't have a single game that you can hang your hat on and be like, this was the performance.
that's a that's a combination of how bad we are and also how amazingly competitive the Premier League is. Like no easy. Everyone says there's no easy games. There genuinely aren't easy games right now. Every week can be a banana slip or a banana peel slip. So
Yeah. I mean, we had our banana peel slip, but ever since then we've been roaring. When we lost to Nottingham Forest, and then we
Bologna,
beat we
Bologna played well actually. I thought that could have ended almost as a draw. I know you guys won in the end, but that Bologna game
yeah.
highlights, and I was catching some of the second half. I was looking at it thinking, well, Nunes went off a little bit defeated. He had a decent performance, didn't really get a goal. He looked a little bit downbeat coming off at the 60-minute mark.
Yeah, one thing that makes me happy about this Liverpool squad, though, and it was kind of like Klopp's final gift to us, was that we were always kind of like mentally fragile throughout his entire tenure. Like if we were not up at least 1-0 by halftime, like things would take a very bad turn at some point. But last year we ended up like I think we led the league in goals from the 75th minute on. And like not just goals, but also like goal difference or like whatever that is. Basically, like we like from 75 minutes, like if we can get to 75 minutes 0-0, we win the game. And that's why going to Bologna, I think our first goal was at like 60 minutes. And even then I wasn't sweating. I was like, we've got this. Like our team, I think, is firing on all cylinders. Arne Slot is officially as the best start of any Liverpool manager in the club's history, which is great for us to see. It's terrible for you to see, but
Only one way to go now, isn't it? If you're at the top already, there's only one way to go now. Gravity do its work. Let's see.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, part of it is that we have had kind of a cupcake schedule. We faced Brentford, Ipswich Town, Wolverhampton.
Only beat fair though. Everyone.
Yeah,
I don't like when people say even if someone's saying about Liverpool, and I hate Liverpool, but they're like, oh, they haven't beat. Well, they haven't faced anyone yet. They can only beat what's in front of you.
you
So
can only beat what's in front of you. And then we beat this one really terrible team, ManU, that they obviously can't be that good because they lost
ourselves,
3-0.
we didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. Casemiro just kamikaze the whole game. Like
Yeah.
that's nothing about Porto yesterday. They were like, oh, United threw away a 2-0 lead. Our midfield was Ericsson and Casemiro. What do you expect? And what do you think's going to happen? These are players. Oh, some guy said to me, "Oh, Man United think they only have to play 20 minutes." I think these fuckers can only play 20 minutes. Ericsson's got half a heart. He's got a dodgy ticker, unfortunately, and then Casemiro's legs are just finished. So you can't rely. You shouldn't be putting these guys in these positions, especially someone like Ericsson coming on with 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left to shore up a game, be tidy in midfield.
Yeah, I always forget that with Ericsson. By the way, do you know who right now is number one in the Champions League?
I don't know the table. Probably you guys, maybe.
Dortmund.
Oh yeah, because they battered Celtic, didn't they? Like 5-1 or some nonsense like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they have the highest goal difference of +9, and then
Is Nuri Sahin,
behind them,
is Nuri Sahin still Dortmund manager? Because I know Terzic left after the final last year.
yeah, I think it's Sahin.
Oh wow. He's doing well.
And then you have Brest, Benfica,
They
Bayer
won.
Leverkusen.
Brest won the other day. I think they were 3-0 up because I saw BRE. I'm like, who's BRE? Bremen? I was like, oh no, Brest are in the Champions League.
Yeah. No, I remember one of my favorite games every year is Brest versus Nice
Okay, nice
because
Brest.
it's Brest. Yeah, no, they beat Salzburg 4-0, which is not that easy of an accomplishment. Like
Salzburg aren't pushovers, man. Like they're not the biggest team, but Austria.
they're they're a really good farm team. Like they had the Tyler Adams came from there. Who's that guy in Kunku? He came from Salzburg, or did he come from the other Red Bull team?
But they all through the feeder system, so they would have come. Some of them come through Salzburg into Leipzig and then move on. I mean,
Yeah,
Haaland was killing it at Salzburg before he went to Dortmund. So these players come through
exactly.
the system. So it's usually Red Bull Salzburg to Leipzig and then to the big move. But sometimes they just skip Leipzig, or sometimes they go straight to Leipzig. So you either go through one, if not both, feeder clubs before they send them on to big.
Yeah. I feel like right now the Champions League, I'm just gonna share the screen so that we can both like look
I
at it
like
and the
the
people at
format.
home.
It took a while to get used to it, but I like the idea of like you could play eight complete different teams, 4 home, 4 away, and then it's like one big table. And I believe what top 8 go through automatically. So look at Villa, Jesus Christ, two games, 2 wins.
My feeling about it as of now is I'm not gonna try to understand how it actually works until a year or two from now. And
If you
like not understanding is making me a lot happier because I can just like enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to get frustrated by not understanding it.
if you just scroll down a little bit for me, just a smidge, yeah. So still keep one there. Okay, perfect. So from 1 to 8, they automatically go through to the next round. No fuckery, nothing like that. From
Yeah,
9 to 24, I believe, they then have
it's
they have that playoffs to decide
I
who
like
will.
that.
Yeah, because obviously it's last 16 next. So 8 are already gone through. That's half of your last 16. The other 8 then come through from these playoffs. So it's more exciting. It keeps it fresh. It's interesting. I'm enjoying. You're getting such massive games. Arsenal, PSG. Arsenal did an incredible job. As a defender myself, I loved seeing how the defensive performances. Timber was a game changer at right
Yeah,
back.
I mean, I think the thing that I like about it is that like when in the old days of the Champions League, I mean old days last year, like literally like the group stage would come out, you'd circle the games, and there'd be only like 7 or 8 games worth watching. And even those games didn't even matter. Like when you had Manchester versus PSG like a couple years ago, it was like, yeah, it's a good game, but at the same time, like they're both going through, so who really cares? So I do like this that we have a lot more games, a lot more interesting games, and a lot more games that matter a lot more.
Look at numbers 2 to 3, 2 to 4. Right. Look who's second to fourth, and then look
Yeah.
15 down to 17th. Was 15 down to 19th even. Look at those teams. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
holy shit. It's
I
still early,
think
but wow.
so. I think I mean this is kind of the same thing that happens with the EP, not so much with the EPL, but this happens a lot in like Major League Baseball or like the NFL, where like the first 3 or 4 weeks you can't trust the standings at all. Like the standings are all crazy. With EPL is different because like you expect Man City to, you have like one or two, teams get up there that shouldn't be there. But like I think that in like 2 or 3 weeks is gonna shake out. I think Dortmund's gonna stay in the top 10, but Brest, Benfica, I think are gonna drop off. Obviously, Bayern Munich and Barcelona and Real Madrid aren't gonna be down there for forever.
History will turn it around as well. But it's just nice just seeing these little bit of changes. Obviously, United aren't even on this list for obvious reasons, but I
So
enjoy
is it 8 games? 8 games total?
8 games. Yeah. So group stages used to be 6 games, so it was 3 teams home and away, but now they've expanded it by two. So you play
Yeah.
teams 4 at home, 4 away, but it's not the same 4 home and away. Like you're playing 8 different teams.
Yeah. Well, is it still you still play each team twice, or you only play each team once?
You only play each team once, which
I
adds a
like
set.
that.
So like exactly. So the fact that you guys are playing Real Madrid, all you really have to worry about Real Madrid at Anfield. You're not going to the Bernabeu.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Arsenal,
it also gives you more teams to play, which I think is good because it's
it's more
like,
right. You know what I mean? It's more diversity. You're getting these one-off fixtures. Arsenal, PSG at the Emirates, great. And then whoever they're playing next. Leverkusen coming to Anfield, so Real Madrid. This is going to be dope. Like it's
yeah, I
great.
mean, I think one of the big questions in general is that like, how come UEFA seems to be run so much better than FIFA? Because like UEFA, I mean, like you could obviously pick your qualms with UEFA, especially with like, Man City, but they've gone to court over Man City, so it's not like they weren't trying to do anything about it, but they just seem to be doing things well in a way that FIFA just isn't.
I think they're both extremely corrupt, but I think with the UEFA setup, I think it's easier to manage. I think the European powerhouses are all kind of aligned in the same level of corruption. Whereas I think when you have FIFA, South America, not that I'm accusing anyone, but I'm saying let's say South America's agenda is so much different to Middle East's agenda versus,
Yeah,
so it's harder to control the chaos of the corruption. Whereas UEFA, like, look, I mean, even within UEFA, let's be honest, they hate the English clubs. They've always knocked us down. They don't like seeing us win. Every time
yeah.
Michel Platini was president for those number of years, I think an English club won the Champions League at least 3 times, 2 to 3 times, and we were in at least half a dozen finals. His face compared to when the English team lifted it, compared to when an English team lost the final, night and day. You could just tell this prick didn't want.
I like to call him Platini, so he sounds Italian because I know that's very insulting to a French person.
And you're talking about
Platini.
you're talking about a guy like obviously the Heysel disaster in '85 with Liverpool and Juventus.
Yeah.
Game should have been called off. Not his call, but then the way they celebrated the Juve players, and I believe he might have been captain when they lifted it. Like the biggest smirk on his face. Like, smile, but you don't have to enjoy that much. People died, motherfucker. Like, that
Yeah.
just tells you the measure of the man or lack of.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand the animosity towards England because England has always kind of viewed itself as like not fully part of Europe. So like it does kind of make sense. But yeah, I mean, I think you make a point like FIFA, I mean, like you realize whenever you look at any sort of international organization, not to get into like politics or anything, but like the UN is like a cesspool of fucking corruption. You know what I mean? Like these international organizations like the rest of the world is incredibly like we think of like America and the UK as corrupt, and like there is corruption, obviously, but like you compare it to fucking like Barbados or like
Hey,
Africa, you know what I mean? It's like night and day.
yeah. There's levels to this game.
So looking at this right now, because like 2 games in is like we are kind of in the midst of this a little bit. Like, things will shake out differently, but they're not going to completely shake out differently. Like, who do you see as your top 8 right now going on to the next round?
Madrid, Bayern, Liverpool, Dortmund, Leverkusen, City, obviously, and then the last one's a bit interesting. I have to be Arsenal. I don't see Arsenal not being in there. I think, and I'm not hoping this, but last year, different format, obviously, but Newcastle Champions League for the first time in 20 odd years. They
Yeah.
called the group of death. I believe they had PSG, they had Dortmund, and they had one more.
Yeah. Let me look this up. Because
AC Milan.
yeah.
So they started off on a flyer. I believe they beat PSG 4-1 at St. James Park, and you're thinking, oh my God, Newcastle are going to qualify for the next round. They'll at least maybe not group winners, but they'll finish second in the group quite comfortably. PSG are shambles. Newcastle ended up finishing fourth, I believe. Didn't even qualify for Europa League in the end. So it can change very quickly. So with Aston Villa flying high, there you go. Exactly. I mean, it was a close. They were one win away from doing it, but
I mean, England really shut the bed last year in general. Like
United were absolutely criminal. So with Villa beating Bayern on Wednesday or whenever it was, I believe it was Wednesday, huge performance. First time they're in the Champions League since they won it back in '82. So '83 season, they were last time they were in the European Cup. They're on a great fucking run. John Duran is absolutely doing bits for them. He was this close to signing for West Ham, and Chelsea were very, very interested in him. So the fact that he stayed at Villa, it looks like a masterstroke now because he's popping the goals for him. I'd like to see how Villa do in 2-3 games time where they stand, because they're flying high in the league as well. Hopefully not this Sunday. Hopefully we put a spanner in the works. But I just find that it can turn around. We're saying Villa looking great. They should qualify for the next stage, hopefully, but it could turn around very quickly, unfortunately, for these teams.
My question about Villa, so I mean, we already covered how Unai Emery is amazing when the team has Villa in the title. Like he's just a genius. But like Birmingham, I'm trying to get it to like move this map around, but like Birmingham's the big city in England. You have a good fan base there. It's the second biggest city.
It's the second city of the UK. That's what it's known as, I believe.
Yeah, so you can have a legit club here with a lot of money in it if you had a team, right?
I spent a fair bit of my former years traveling up to Birmingham to hang out and party with friends in college. There was a good college town in the early 2010s, let's say. So when you drive into Birmingham, not to get too specific, but when you get off like the A38 expressway, you actually see Villa Park on your horizon on the right-hand side of the highway. So there's two major teams. There's Birmingham City and there's Aston Villa. Two major football clubs.
Birmingham City is in championship, right?
Birmingham City is this weird team where for a lot of my youth growing up watching football, we would call them what we refer to as a yo-yo club. They'd be up and down from Premier League to Championship every year. So they get promoted, get relegated a season or two after, and then get promoted straight back up. They were too good for Championship, but not good enough for the Premier League. It was a weird sort of one foot in each half kind of situation. They've unfortunately come under times in more recent years. I think they're a League One club now. Villa similarly
League One.
I think they're in League One. I might be wrong.
I always forget League One is higher than League Two, right?
So what you have is non-league football, League Two, League One,
Championship, and then one thing I love to do in FIFA is start out with a League Two team and then try to win the Champions League. I think I told you this already, but I did that one time with a completely American team. So I only scouted in America, which first of all means that you only get one scout because each scout can only have one country, right? And then two, it was just so hard. But then when I won the Champions League with a completely American team, I made my country proud. But anyway, all this to say that so Birmingham, you have Wolverhampton, but I'm guessing Aston Villa is a much bigger integral club to the team, to the area. With them being as good as they are, I can't see a reason why if you're an investor looking to get into football, why you wouldn't pour a lot of money into Aston Villa.
America's sweetheart, the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game, is a minority owner, or I think.
Oh, really?
Tom Brady has stake.
Mark Sanchez?
No, Tom Brady, a legendary Tom Brady, is a part owner of Birmingham City Football Club.
Oh, but not Aston Villa.
Not Villa, no, not Villa. I think Villa had American owners, but it was some random. I don't know who they were.
Who are their owners? But yeah, this is riveting television for the people at home, but I don't care. But because Aston Villa they play really well. They are.
He's got them playing very good transition football and very good. They have a clear plan. Now it might not be the easy guy, but
so they have an Egyptian owner.
Oh, when did he?
Some Middle Eastern money.
Definitely had Americans not too long ago, but they were struggling with that. The Americans, there wasn't much investment. This guy obviously clearly is put his money where his mouth is.
It's jointly owned by American billionaire Wes Edens and Egyptian billionaire Nassef Sahiris.
There we go.
I mean, once they brought in Unai Emery, things just really changed around. Moving around, especially when they got that $100 million for what's his name, Footie boy, for City.
Oh, Jack Grealish.
Jack Grealish, yeah. Literally, the Man City paid an extra $30 million because of his face, I think.
Yeah,
Because every single English girl was in love with him after the Euros in 2021.
I think a lot of them still are, to be fair. Even though media, but yeah, no, like
um,
Villa's rise has been meteoric. Emery's done an incredible job. They've had some strokes, so fortune's gone their way in some ways as well with John Durant, other things. They've spent the money well, the Grealish money, like you said.
and there's no reason for him to leave. Like Sevilla is always going to be always going to be looking up, but
Yeah,
Aston Villa can get into like a place that Chelsea was at. You know what I mean?
they're definitely dark horses. Like if they continue on the current trajectory, who's to say they won't be challenging in 2 years' time, a year, 2 years' time? Especially if Guardiola leaves City, you can have your Arsenal, your Liverpool, Villa really push on. I mean, the potential's there, but then there's also the reverse of they might, Emery might have a tough break next season or end of this season. They might have some injury crisis. When things are going well, the owners love you, but patience in football has only been dwindling in the last 10, 15, 20 years. You won't get. I look at Ten Hag, like back in the day,
Yeah.
managers would get at least 3 to 4 years to figure it out. Ten Hag's been kind of on borrowed time since last year, really, or 6 months ago. So now size of the club makes a difference. Fuck, with 13th. I thought we were worse, actually, to be honest. Not that this is acceptable in any shape or form, but what are we?
Yeah, but you're only what 3 points out from eighth.
6 points off top four.
Yeah,
You cunts at top of the table, son of a bitch.
yeah. I was so happy with the Man City draw. That was great.
Newcastle, that was an interesting. They're going through a bit of a patch right now. City, they always do every 1 or 2 years in Guardiola's tenure. I reckon they're going to end up. This is a hot take, and you heard it here first, at least on our channel. I think they're going to go in for Nicolo Barella from Inter Milan in January.
Oh, really?
I think Barella suits them down to a T.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
out for the season, there's no replacing Rodri, but I think a Barella-esque player, like him and like a Bernardo Silva kind of combination, will put that engine steel back into City's midfield that they need. Shit, are you not playing them in December? December 1st.
yeah, we have a really tough 3 weeks where we have Real Madrid, Man City, and then Newcastle. But our
Yeah.
entire October, November, December is tough. We have
Bournemouth.
Chelsea, then a week later we have Arsenal, and
Oh
then
shit,
we have Bayer Leverkusen. 4 days later we have Aston Villa. Like it's
crazy,
gonna be a tough.
dude. I feel like I find as you get older, time like the years become really short. Like a year used to feel like a long time when I was a kid, or even
Yeah,
for the last 4 or 5 years, a year just flies by. Every year it's just getting shorter and shorter. I can't believe the season's already picking up like this. This is nuts.
yeah. We like I'm scared that we're gonna like lose some of our momentum and then we're gonna, things can tumble really quickly, especially with the new manager. But if we can if let's just say this, if we beat Crystal Palace 2-1, I'm happy. And then if we can at home against Chelsea, if we can just mob them, if we can mob them like 3-0 and show them like, look, you may be fourth in the standings, but you're not back yet. We're the top dogs. If we
Yeah,
can do that, then I'm going to feel very confident for the rest of the season.
they have an abysmal record, especially at Anfield recently. So that'll be an interesting one. It's
Yeah, I
funny
mean
how
Chelsea though, Chelsea's fourth right now, but let's look at their schedule. Is this a real fourth or is this a fake fourth?
no, they're fourth, but I believe they're playing us soon. They've got you guys coming up. Chelsea's another one of those ones. Like it's extreme pendulums. So like the Brighton 4-2 result was brilliant. I didn't see that coming, but a couple drop things here and there. They can change very quickly.
Chelsea don't have a legit win though. Like I think if we could beat them like 3-4-0,
I
like
think
I feel like
that game at Forest, that Forest game is going to be a banana peel for them. I reckon that's a Forester, no joke. Not just saying because
yeah.
they're very, Nuno Espirito Santo sets a very regimented defense. They're solid structures, and this Chelsea team might struggle. They create a lot of chances, but I still think they're finishing.
Is
Even
it
though this,
Spirito Santo the coach for Nottingham Forest?
yeah, because I remember I think one of his first games when he came into the job last year towards Christmas time, he beat United out of the blue.
That's a fall from Tottenham down to Nottingham Forest. That kind of sucks.
What are you looking at?
Well, no, didn't he coach Tottenham 2 years ago?
He did, but I think the job just didn't suit him because they were looking for some structure. But Tottenham always want to play a certain way of football. So even when Ange Postecoglou wasn't winning games towards the end of the season and they missed out on fourth, the fans, including my mum's sister, my aunt, who's a diehard Tottenham fan, they forgave him because of the level of entertainment they were getting.
Yeah, but Tottenham always want to play a certain way, and the way that Tottenham wants to play is whatever way does not suit the players. Like whatever the natural progression of the team is, they want to play a different way from that. Is the Tottenham strategy, in my
I'll be
opinion.
honest, this is the since maybe Harry Redknapp's days and maybe Villas-Boas to a degree, this is the most high-flying Tottenham play I've seen. Like they fucking go for it. Ange has them. Some of these players they have. Destiny Udogie is an absolute star. I think that's a brilliant. If it's a signing, or if he came from the academy, I'm not too sure. I think it's a
Yeah.
signing. But Pape Sarr, they've got some of these young guns they picked up, and you have to credit the scouting department. But for me personally, it's still early days. This is the best Tottenham I've seen since Villas-Boas and like Harry Redknapp, the swashbuckling days. They brought in Conte, there was Jose, there was Espirito Santo. That's like an antithesis of what Tottenham really want to be doing. Even though it's the opposite in some ways, in terms of they win trophies, but the football might not be attractive. But Tottenham are all about maybe playing sexy football, but not winning anything. So it's a bit
If there's
interesting.
one thing Tottenham love, it's not winning anything.
I mean, to this
That's
day, I don't care what anyone says. They may have got comfortably beaten if Jose had stayed, but sacking a proven cup final winning manager 4 days before the Carling Cup final, knowing that you've not won fuck all since the Carling Cup in 2008, is the most ridiculous decision I've yet to see. I've yet to see top. It's insane what they did. He could
yeah.
have
I
been.
mean,
He could have
speaking
done.
of speaking of teams, that was
Oh
a
yeah,
terrible transition. Real Madrid is not. I mean, we talked about this. They always start kind of soft, but like there's this is not becoming of Real Madrid, in my opinion.
coming off the 15-time European champions, you just got Mbappe. This is not becoming. They finished one.
Yeah,
Atletico away is not easy, but Atletico got spanked by Benfica 3-0 the other day, so that's a little bit interesting.
yeah, I watched that. It was actually kind of tough because I like Atletico. Atletico, I think, is like they do things in the exact way you kind of want a club to be run, in my opinion. Like they have a strong identity, a strong coach, a strong team foundation, and they really get the best out of everybody. Like Antoine Griezmann for Atletico is Atletico in France, he can play.
Yeah,
Put him on Barcelona, he sucks. But those two teams, he's really good.
I was going to ask something. I just forgot. What was I going to say? Shit. How's Julian Alvarez been doing? He didn't seem like the kind of player that would suit a Diego Simeone side. Obviously, they spent a pretty penny with 85 million on him, but I wonder
Yeah,
how Alvarez is doing actually.
let's see this. Atletico's not doing that well either. 4-4-0.
Villarreal flying. Oh, poor Sevilla. I know this chick from Seville that's a diehard Sevilla fan. I feel for her. They're having a tough time as well this year.
My girlfriend wants us, if we have a kid, to like have the kid in Spain because she thinks that like Spanish citizenship is like one of the best citizenships to have. And I'm like, yeah, if you're from Venezuela, like this kid's gonna have American citizenship. What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
Both very good.
uh, but yeah, they got spanked by Benfica. They tied Real Madrid. Um, Rayo Vallecano tied. They beat Leipzig.
That was a last.
Um,
Our friend Keith was watching that as well. That was a last minute winner. He was
oh,
telling me
really?
Atletico grabbed it right at the death. That Leipzig
Yeah.
game was a last minute winner.
Yeah, I guess are there any other topics top of mind for this week for you right now? What do you kind of I mean, obviously Man U
As
is
a rival fan, what do you think? You think Ten Hag will survive? I pray he survives. I hope they give him till at least December, but I think depending on how Sunday goes, if it's a bad loss as well with another abject performance, I think he's cooked.
are you playing Villa again on Saturday, right? Yeah,
Sunday, yeah.
I don't think you're beating Villa. Yeah, I mean, look, if I was the manager, if I was the owner, I wouldn't sack him. I really think that your guys' performance right now is 100% the schedule. And so if you guys like are not playing well, it's because like you guys just have a really tough schedule. And once, as I said, if you guys can end October in seventh place, which you guys are 3 points away from seventh right now, right? So if you
I was,
end October,
I was laughing when you said that.
what?
I was laughing when you told me this a couple of weeks ago. If you finish seventh at the end of October, November, you'll be doing all right. I'd fucking take it right now the way we're fucking going. I can't believe I'm saying this. But
Be,
you,
be,
you
because look, I just stopped sharing my screen, but I'll share it again. Like let's look at your calendar, starting in October, starting in November. So you have Chelsea, which I think they're frauds. Let's start with end of October, right? So um let's say you lose to Villa, let's say you beat Brentford, let's say
Jose's
you
as well. Away to Jose Mourinho's fucking Fenerbahce team's going to be a deadly atmosphere.
I would honestly just even give him that tie. I wouldn't even really care. But then let's say you beat or you tie West Ham. Now I think you're in seventh place, right? Because you're getting 6 points up, and 5 through 15 don't get points all the time, right? So 6 points if you get six out of 9 points, you should be around seventh place. So now this is all in Spanish, obviously. But now we're going into November, right? Chelsea, I think they're frauds. You beat Chelsea, Europa, whatever. You're facing Leicester City, which, come on now. You then have Ipswich, another Europa. You have Everton, Arsenal. I think given this run that you're going to go on, I think you're going to tie Arsenal.
I would take that right now. I would take
And then you have Nottingham Forest. I think you're going to beat them. Victoria Pilsen, whatever.
big one.
Let's say you lose to City, fair. It's not. No one holds that against you. Beat AFC Bournemouth. Wolverhampton are 20th right now. Let's say you tie Newcastle. You're now at the end of December in the top four. Easy.
I'll take that. I hope you're right.
Because again, we have well maybe not top four, maybe top five, but you're there. You're in the running at that point.
In the race, yeah, that's the main thing. Like, we're not even close to the race right now. Like, we need to be in and around it, and just some fucking consistency. And winning's winning, but it wouldn't be bad to actually enjoy what I'm watching as well. Like right now, I just feel like the fans are just getting ripped off. Like the performances, rash. Everyone keeps talking about Rashford, but honestly, like as simple as losing that ball for that first Tottenham goal, head down, didn't even bother tracking back, arms in the air, like whatever.
But I mean, it's still like you have to realize like the players have that same mentality issue as fans do, right? Like if you're picking up FIFA, right, and you haven't played in 9 months, right, and you go directly to Ultimate, the hardest thing, right, and you get your ass kicked over and over again. It's probably gonna take you a long time to get back in the swing of things. But if you go on easy mode and you see the ball getting to the net, you're like, oh, I remember how to do this. I remember how to do this. I remember how to do this. Then you go into ultimate, and now you can play again. I think that's what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna have some week. You're gonna have. You guys have like a week. Let's look. I'm not gonna share the screen again, but you guys have 3 weeks in November where you have Leicester City, Ipswich, Bodo Glimt, and then you have Everton. If you guys can't get back out of fucking roll at the end of that, like, okay, fine, fire him. But give him until I'd say give him until December 12th.
Yeah.
Because that December 12th is when we're gonna know, whether or not you're frauds or not. Because if you can rip off a series of wins against these bottom of the table teams, get a tie against Arsenal, fine, fuck it. You lose against City. Who cares? You probably even beat City because City is notoriously terrible against top five teams. So you could feasibly beat City, and then you're in it.
I hope you're right. I'll send you a nice present over Christmas if we end up where you're saying we end up by then.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not doing to gas you up. I just call it how I see it. And I think that, you know, teams being out of sorts just makes it very hard for you. But once you start seeing the ball get in the net, once Marcus Rashford and Anthony like start passing the ball and the ball actually gets to the other person, then you're like, oh shit, I remember I could do this. You know what I mean?
Let's see. I'd honestly be so glad if we just sold Rashford for a nice, because it'll be all profit because he's a homegrown player. If we get like 60, 70 mil straight profit, that'll help with the books. But the question is, who do we go out and get? We can't afford your Nico Williams. There's too much demand for him. There's the guy at Napoli, Cook. I'm going to butcher his name. The Georgian kid,
Yeah, Barcelona. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple deadly players there. It's just a matter of whether we can attract them. So let's see. Let's see. You guys have Palace early kickoff. Palace away. I don't think it's gonna be as easy as everyone thinks. Actually, they're due a win. They haven't won all season yet. They're without a win, so I'm praying.
Oh my God, you're telling me we're playing against a team that hasn't won all season? Wow, I'm scared.
All the fun. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Liverpool is on form right now. We're gonna have a big test of the schedule. If we can get out of that, I mean, obviously, if we get out of that with wins all around, I'll be happy. But like, if we can get like a tie against Real, beat Man City, do that type of thing, then I'll be very happy. I'm just afraid of our team like combusting. That's my big fear. There's no reason to think it will happen, but
Never
these
know.
things always happen. Yeah, exactly. As I've said, like one of the things that I'm really happy about is him playing Diogo Jota as a nine. I think it's really interesting and like it's a really ballsy move by him. One problem that I
Actually, yeah, he's one thing he's done. And Ten Hag kind of did it in his first season. For some reason, has stopped since. They're making the brave calls. He doesn't give a fuck. He knows it's a results business. Popular opinion, being popular amongst the players, stuff is great, but at the end of the day, it's his ass on the line, and he's making ballsy calls. I respect it.
And I completely, like that's something I very much believe in. It's just like, look, if you're going to get fired because you played the way that you wanted to play. Like, get fired like by doing what you wanted to do. Don't get fired by doing what someone else wanted you to do. Like, you're the coach.
Yeah.
One thing also is that like he started to kind of change his lineup. Like the big fear that we have with Slot is he just keeps on like rolling out the same people, but he started Nunez against Bologna. And that's literally I'm looking at our old lineups right now. That's literally like as much as he's changed it, which
as far as Gakpo hasn't had more starts in these different games, I think he's going to unleash him soon. He's due some big moments, Gakpo.
I'm very bearish on Gakpo. Like I'm always bearish on most players who like have an international moment, but then don't really back it up. And after we bought him, and like I had all these Liverpool fans telling me like, "Oh no, we were looking at it for months before that." It's just like, no, we weren't. Chill out.
It's close. It's just because we couldn't financially afford it. You guys swooped in nicely, but I think if you play him around the left, Luis Diaz has been absolutely on fire. So there's no way he's dropping him on the big games. But like these side games, Carling Cups, maybe in smaller teams like Crystal Palaces who haven't won all season. Start Gakpo on Saturday, early kickoff. Give Diaz a bit of a break, and then bring him on 60 minutes. Maybe let's see.
I think that like so the Luis Diaz point I think is a good one because like I think that I don't mean to shit on Pulisic, but like you kind of have a spectrum of wingers where like on one end you kind of have a Pulisic or like a Raheem Sterling where really all they do is just move very quickly and get the ball and like move behind. I mean, Pulisic does a lot more when he plays for the United States, but like in his club career, he's basically that guy versus someone like a Ronaldo, or not a Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, or like Neymar, who like are kind of a superhero on the wing. Mo Salah is not really that guy, but like I'm trying to think who's the closest that we have to that. Maybe a Phil Foden type player. And Luis Diaz, that haircut, man, he's literally like it looks like he's gained like 30 pounds of muscle. Like the guy is just like bullying people on the left, and like it's just phenomenal to see.
Yeah. He's had a killer start to the season. He was always that player, even when he came for you lot in January in 22. He started off on fire, just had a very bad injury afterwards, and then struggled to come back a bit. But a lot of good depth there. You guys look dangerous. I'm hoping Palace. Come on, Palace. Just even a draw I'll take right now.
So we're one Premier League away from you guys.
Yeah, one title off us.
Yeah, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, it's been
Let,
stressful.
let me ask you a question. So someone I saw this question asked from ManU fans. I thought it was a very easy answer, but there was actually an argument about it, which is if you have the choice between ManU, neither of your teams winning anything this year, or ManU winning the Prem, but Arsenal win the Champions League, would you take it? Remember, Arsenal has never won the Champions League ever, and you guys have been able to hold that over them until now. If they win the Champions League, you can't say that anymore. And how many of you guys won? Three? Yeah. So like one versus three is not that big of a difference.
No, I'll take it. Let them win the Champions League. They're still shit. Fuck them.
Really? You take that?
Then I can say we have at least 2 more titles than you lot. And I can say, I haven't been able to say this for a while. I've been shouting 20 times for the last decade. It'd be nice to say 21 times champions of England. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
I mean,
City winning it, like Chelsea winning it in 2012 really sucked because like that was the first. Like before that, it'd only been United, Liverpool, Forest, Villa, like a few teams that won the Champions League. Chelsea kind of broke that, and then when City did the treble 2 seasons ago,
yeah.
sucks. But they've only won one, and I don't think they'll do much with it. Arsenal is hilarious. It's been super funny that they don't have a Champions League, and it hurts them. They'll say, "Oh, whatever, we're always in this," but it pinches them because you're not really a big club till you've done it. And the fact that Forest,
100%. Not even Forest done it twice.
They've retained it. Even United have. Forest and Liverpool, the only English clubs to retain the Champions League.
Yeah, and that was back when it was a lot tougher to retain it.
So it was a period of 77 to 82, an English club won it every year. You guys, 77, 78. Forest, 79, 80 under the legendary Brian Clough. You guys in 81. Villa in 82. And then 83 was someone else. 84, you lot. And then 85, Juve with Platini's, the Heysel situation. So,
yeah. Oh well. This is a good footy talk. I'm gonna upload this. I'm gonna